Hello again. Right, I've come to a church. It's not just any church. It's an Anglo Saxon church in Brixworth in Northamptonshire. And as this little sign here says, this Grade 1 church is an outstanding example of Anglo Saxon architecture. Amongst a number of changes, a spire was added in the 14th century, which was struck by lightning in the 18th century. The stone engraving near the entrance is known as the Brixworth Eagle and is probably from the Roman villa to the north. The west tower has a ring of 6 bells dating from 1622, with the most recent addition cast in 1993. So, this is it. So apparently, from the little bit that I've read, there was a church here in 680. So that's very early, Anglo-Saxon times. But the actual building of this began in the late 8th and early 9th century. But it's really quite an amazing building. It really is. A very interesting part of this building is this. As I get closer to it, let's get closer to it. If you look at this archway here, these bricks, this structure here, is actually from Roman buildings, and they've done petrological tests on them. Found out that they were probably from Towcester or Leicester. Now, Towcester's not far from here, but look at this. Late 9th century. No, early 9th century, late 8th century. What an amazing building. I've read about it. I've never actually been up here to look at it. Isn't this amazing? It's a big church as well. I mean, Brixworth's quite a big settlement. Let's go, don't really want to be tramping across people's graves. So yeah, apparently one of the kings of the Anglo-Saxons lived around this area, and he built a church, and it was built from sort of the Roman remains of the buildings around and about here. Now, what it said on that little sign back there is that there was a Roman villa somewhere to the north. So I don't know whether that would have been down in this area down here, maybe. I don't know. It's an unusual. There's been a lot of ironstone mining in and around Northamptonshire, so this could have been a quarry at some point, but it also could have been the Roman villa. I'd have to have a little bit more of a look into the Roman villa, but that's for another day. This is the church that we've come to see, or I've come to see, and I'm bringing you along with me. So yeah, it was a local Anglo-Saxon king. Obviously kings back then were much more regional than they are now. And he built a church here, but then by the late 8th, early 9th century, this was being constructed. Look at that. What an amazing building. It's big as well. I didn't realise how large it was. I've seen pictures of it, and I know and I know you might think, oh, he's a god botherer. I'm not a god botherer, but these buildings are amazing. You know, faith has played a huge part, still does play a huge part in lots and lots of people's lives. And there's all kinds of different faiths as well. But this is where people have come together for centuries. I mean, literally in this building, you know, over a millennia, to sort of express their love for each other in marriage, or to announce their births of their babies, or obviously, as you can see around us with the gravestones, lament the demise of their ancestors, of their parents or their children or whatever. And so buildings like this play a huge part in our history. And this is something else. I can actually go inside, I believe. It is open. So what I will do is I will go inside. I'm not going to go too much into the history. If you want to find out, there's plenty of information online. I've just come to sort of look at it. And the fact that it's actually built using Roman materials, you know, from the Roman occupation, from the towns of Towcester and Leicester. is really interesting. Because obviously after the Romans brought Christianity with them, really, and then when the Roman Empire collapsed, if you like, it waned, and the Anglo Saxons went back to their sort of polytheistic ways of thinking about, lots of different gods, Woden, Odin, all those kind of things. You've heard of all of that, Viking kind of stuff. But and then slowly and surely that monotheistic, the one true God as they call it, belief in God and Jesus and all that kind of thing, came along, and they started to build things like this to celebrate that. Before that, you see, the other religions were more land-based, forest-based. You'd have a god of trees, you'd have a god of water, you'd have all these different kinds of gods. And so back in the 6th, 7th, 8th century, this one true God concept started to come into our lexicon, into our language, and they started to build things like this. So yeah, some people just coming out, so I'm not going to bother them. But what an amazing building. What an absolutely amazing building. And when you consider that it's been standing for over a millennium, it's had some changes. Like it says, the spire was added in the 14th century. But that's the 14th century. That's still 700 years ago that was added onto the top. And then it's had some, it did have some restoration work done in the the Victorian period. And I would assume that would be these arches. See how much cleaner cut they are. But wow, what an amazing building. Right, I'm going to see if I can go inside and just have a little wander around. Hopefully I'm not disturbing anyone's prayers. That definitely disturbed their prayers. That door's heavier than I thought it was going to be. So this is the inside of an Anglo Saxon church. Wow. Look at that woodwork. Look at those beams. That looks fairly modern, to be fair. I would assume that was probably sort of later restoration. But look at these beautiful stained glass windows. Look at this. And I'm sure it says, to the glory of God and in memory of Isabella J.M. Bevan, 1888. Wow, so that's like the park bench that you see these days, isn't it? But in stained glass, in perpetuity. Look at that. Wow. There's the little font. So talking about births. I think this is where they would do the christenings, isn't it? At the font. And here, this got all these invitations to join the friends. Yeah, probably the most impressive early Anglo-Saxon building in the country. John Betjeman. Wow. The church is one of England's most important. A simple church, uncluttered by modern additions and mercifully treated kindly by the Victorians. Which is true. The Victorians did like to put a flamboyant stamp on things, didn't they, as we've seen. But again, I'm sure that this Roman architecture, Roman building materials in there. Wow, what a place. And I think, to be fair, no matter what your religious leanings are, you get in a place like this, it stirs something in. It does for me anyway. It stirs something in the soul. You imagine how many people have brought their children in here to be baptised. How many people have been here and mourned the passing of a loved one. How many people have been in here to express their true love and devotion to each other over those 1400 years that this has been here. It holds some stories, this does. Wow. Beautiful pipes for the pipe organ. I'd love to have a play on that. But yeah, look at this. It's so simple, isn't it, really? That's what the thing was saying back there. Just simple architecture. There's a little bit more of the, the arches there are a little bit more flamboyant, I suppose, would you call it? Detailed. But look at this. What a machine. Wow. And obviously this is where the vicar, priest, Yeah, interesting. And the thing is as well, is back in the day, all of these churches would have been, I believe, Catholic, Roman Catholic. Yeah? Because it was all a Roman Catholic. It was only when Henry VIII came along and the sort of stirrings of Reformation in Europe came along that then the Church of England came about. And I wonder, I don't know what the mechanism was for that, because this would have been a Catholic church. And now it's I'm presuming it's a Church of England. Does it say Church of England? It says All Saints Church. I don't know. I presume it. Oh, yes, the Church of England, it says here. So, yeah. So now it's a Church of England. But it survived. So apparently there was an abbey here as well, before the church. And that doesn't necessarily mean there was big buildings, but it was, oh, what's this? Oh, this is it. Oh, look at this. Wow, okay. I hope you can see that. Yeah. The carving of an eagle, the sculptured block of colite, was reused by the Norman builders of the South Porch. Until 1865, it had been concealed by plaster. It is not known if the other side is sculptured. It appears to be the top of a three-armed crosshead of 8th or 9th century date. The exposed face is perhaps a symbol of St. John, the writer of the fourth Gospel. The eagle motif is commonly found in book illustrations and sculptures of the period. It is derived from designs on silken tapestry imported from Sicily. Wow. And this is what I'm saying. Obviously, back in the day, it was a Roman church. You know, the Roman Empire sort of kind of gave way to the Roman church, didn't it? And that's how they sort of projected their power. Still do, in many, many ways. But yeah, so this was a Roman Catholic church, and then it became a Church of England. And I mean, I'm just blown away by, one, the size. I didn't realise it was so big. And two, how, simple it is and beautiful. And it does overlook a high point here at Brixworth. And so, I would always be of the opinion that maybe there was some kind of settlement up here that was overlooking everything. I don't know if you can see in the background there, but we are higher than the surrounding land by a considerable distance in some directions. But, yeah. Anyway, I could go on for hours about this one. I do like it. I'm going to have another proper look around, take some photos. And, yeah, what an amazing thing. So yeah, the church at Brixworth, All Saints Church at Brixworth, a very, very good example of Anglo Saxon building, and very, very little unchanged to be fair in all that time. There it is. Let me turn you around, and we'll sort of. If you do like videos like this and you want to find out a little bit more about bits of history that I find interesting, I don't pretend to be a historian. I just do a bit of reading on Heritage England and things like that before I come out. But look at this. Please do like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you very much.